This is indisputable fact. Schott NYC makes the American leather jacket. This is Nick at Stridewise.com. Today I am reviewing my Schott leather jacket, the most worn leather jacket of all of my jackets. I wear it constantly. The company was started by Jack and Irving Schott in 1913, over 100 years ago, here in New York City on the Lower East Side, where they still have a store where I bought this jacket. The company swears up and down that Irving Schott was the first man to ever put a zipper on a jacket, on any kind of jacket at all. They became really popular with the release of their Perfecto jacket, which was worn by timeless badasses James Dean and Marlon Brando in a lot of their movies. They also worked with the US Army to produce a lot of bomber jackets in World War II, which they also got pretty popular for. And even today, everything is still handmade. It's in New Jersey, not too far from here, where over 100 different people there are employed as like sewing machine operators, leather cutters, and so on. And oftentimes the sewing is still done on the same machines that were used back in 1913. Now this jacket I've got here is the very crisp, clean, sleek, slim Cafe Racer jacket. More specifically, it is the waxed, natural, pebbled cowhide Cafe Racer leather jacket 530. The Cafe Racer jacket is the universal leather jacket. It does not matter how cool you are, doesn't matter who you are, doesn't matter what you normally wear. This jacket is for everybody. It goes with every single outfit out there, and it's also good for people who are not cool enough to wear motorcycle jackets like the Perfecto jacket. I'm one of them. I'm not cool enough for that jacket. But the Cafe Racer jacket, this is the one that I would recommend immediately to anybody who wants the timeless, the perfect leather jacket. Schott made their first Cafe Racer jacket in 1956, and it really gained popularity in the 1960s. They say that it gained popularity and it was developed in England for returning servicemen from World War II who needed something sleeker, more minimalist, so they could wear when they're like, not necessarily riding down the highways at great distances. That's what the really kind of bulky, more protective jackets are for. This is the jacket that was developed for if you were, say, racing between cafes or pubs. Sober, I'm sure. So I've had this jacket for over a year now. I'm absolutely fallen in love with it. Let's take a close look at the details. So this is your real clean look. If you know me, you know I like uncomplicated, time-tested, high-quality men's fashion. And no wardrobe is complete without a leather jacket, and Schott is the best of the best. We'll take a quick look at these details. You've got two zippered hand-warm pockets on the side, and also a zip pocket on the left breast, the left boob here as well. We've got zippers on the wrists, which actually make it a lot easier to take the jacket on and off without having to take your watch off, which catches on a lot of my other jackets. I've got some torn lining on a few of my other jackets. Not with my Schott jacket. These zippers, I should point out, have chain pulls on them. The main zipper down the middle has a leather tab on it. And the zippers are made with nickel, so they're not too shiny, and they shouldn't tarnish over time either. The collar, meanwhile, this is a Mandarin style cafe collar. It does not flip up so much like the similar 141 model. The inside of the jacket is lined with this surprisingly uncool flannel. This is 100% cotton, although it does feel very nice against the skin. It's a different color on the brown version of this jacket, by the way. That one has more of a tan and beige flannel. This is red with bits of black and white and yellow, and polyester lines the sleeves. It doesn't have flannel on that side. The inner pocket here is really deep and secured with a handy button clasp, which means I have no issue worrying about losing my wallet in there if I take the jacket off, carry it around, stuff it into a bag, that kind of thing. Perhaps the most important feature to note though is on the back. Besides the nice basic seam you've got going down the back, which ends at waist height, so everyone can see your tuchus when you're wearing this. This is called a bi-swing back panel here with underarm gussets for maximum mobility. So technically, they're so you can reach the bars when you're riding your motorbike, so you can move your arms while the jacket retains the slimmer silhouette. And this jacket does indeed have a slim silhouette, which helps to prevent billowing material when riding a motorbike. That's the point of it. So let's take a close look at the leather. Okay, so here are the terms they use to describe their leather at Schott. Here we go. Full aniline, drum dyed, hand cut, drummed, chrome tanned, cowhide leather from plump and spongy hides made with an oil and aniline finish that gives a rustic old look and a soft hand. So as a little glossary, the word aniline refers to a type of leather dyed with soluble dyes that help the hide to retain its natural surface. This is nice and pebbly, which I'll get into in a little bit. Drum dyeing, that's a dyeing process in which leather is immersed in dye and tumbled in a rotating drum, ensuring maximum dye penetration. And chrome tanning is leather that's made with chromium-3 sulfites, and like 90% of the world's leather is made with chrome tanning because it's fast to make, it's easy to dye, and it's stretchier than vegetable tanned leather, which you're a bit more likely to see on boots. So this leather is 1.3, 1.5 mil cowhide, and it's natural pebble cowhide, which is not steer hide, which is more muted. This is from cows. It's also not horse hide, which is more shiny. Cowhide, you see more of the grain of the animal usually. As I alluded to before, this is lightly pebbled. It's a natural texture where you see the imperfections of the skin, and it has a light wax coating as well to further improve the weather resistance of the leather. I contrasted this with steer hide and horse hide, but this leather does have a soft, luxurious feel, but it's nothing like sheep leather. I had a sheep leather jacket for a while, which is soft but not that durable. This is durable, but it has a very nice, soft, luxurious feel to it. It really is in the sweet spot and what I want in a leather jacket. And I also really love the fact that it's so asymmetrical as well. As you can see here, you get a lot more like a pebbly, wrinkly bit of the leather here than you will over here. Like the texture changes a bit throughout the leather, which shows you imperfections and it reminds you that this came from an actual animal itself. So I really like that. It really brings like a real sort of visceral feel to the jacket itself. It's a nice touch. All right, when it comes to taking care of your Schott leather jacket, look, I get it. It's a leather jacket. The point of it is that you don't want to have to care for it too much, and that it looks better as it gets more distressed, more beaten up, more old. I get it. All of that is very true. But if you want to keep it clean, for instance, if you get a bunch of dirt on it, like the good thing, again, it's leather. You could use like a wet rag and that's going to wipe it down. That should be fine. For more stubborn stains, which might be more apparent on the brown version of this jacket. This black one could very well be covered in dirt. I wouldn't know, it's all black. But if you do have some stubborn stains, you might want to get a leather spot cleaner. I always use a Cobbler's Choice leather spot cleaner. I use it on my boots, I use it on my sneakers. It seems like really good. It's just kind of what I have lying around. Any sort of leather cleaner would be fine, but this is the one I happen to use myself. But I've never really used it on this jacket because again, it's really good quality leather. It's really easy just to wipe clean. But the thing with leather jackets that a lot of people miss is that you do want to condition the leather now and then. Not as frequently as like a pair of boots, but nonetheless, you do want to condition the jacket. So as for what you want to use to condition it, which by the way means it's like a process of moisturizing the skin of the leather because it is skin after all, you do want to keep it relatively moist to keep it like healthy and improve the longevity and improve the way it ages. Schott NYC appears to have an agreement with Otter Wax, so they recommend you use Otter Wax's leather oil for this leather jacket, which they say on their website contains a base of oleic-rich safflower oil and fortified with vitamin E. So that sounds like a lot of the same kind of stuff people like to put on their skin. I think Obernauf's, that's another conditioner I used to use on a sheepskin jacket I had back in the day. That worked fine on that jacket, but I tend to err on the side of what the companies tell me to use on their own products. It's a bit basic of me, but Schott tells me to use Otter Wax's leather oil. That's what I'm gonna use on this jacket. And you don't need to do it any more than like once a year or so. It depends on how hard you wear them, but like once a year, I think it's enough. So as for the fit and sizing, this model is a little bit similar to Schott's 141 model jacket, but it doesn't have the buckles on the side. The collar is actually more flush as well because the collar on that one sticks up a bit. It has more studs. This is a much more simplistic looking jacket, and it has a much slimmer sort of fit. Schott really designed this jacket to have a sort of bold and streamlined look. And unlike the Perfecto, which has those underarm footballs, which kind of accordion out a bit to give you a bit more move in the arms, and add that to the fact that Schott's jackets generally have more tightly cut arms. Yeah, you've got a pretty slim fitting jacket. A lot of people look at this. I've seen some other videos online and people in the comments will say, that guy's jacket is too small for him, I got the wrong size. Nah, this is the correct size for me. It's a slim fitting jacket. Now I picked up the large, and for reference, my chest is about 46 inches. And when it comes to breaking in this jacket, unlike a lot of other leather out there, like horsehide for instance, a lot of people will say that it takes a good couple of years to properly break in. This is broken in pretty much out of the box. It was like very soft, it wasn't uncomfortable at all. It's a really nice sort of, I wouldn't say it's pliable, like it is a tough leather, but it did not feel uncomfortable when I first got it. But the leather will stretch a bit when you first get this jacket. So like it's gonna stretch about a half a size. When I first got it, I couldn't zip it up. And the guys at the store laughed at me when I said I wanted to get an XL because they told me I'd be back in a year complaining about having a too loose jacket. And they were right. So a lot of people, they order a half size down or like a size down from what they normally wear when they get a leather jacket like this one, because yeah, again, it will stretch about a half size, so keep that in mind. Now when this jacket was first released in 1956, it was called a leather racing shirt and it had the grand old price tag of $28.50, but times have changed a little bit. Inflation is a thing, and you might want to ready yourself for this one. This is the most unfortunate aspect of this jacket. The current price is $850. That's the price on Schott's website. That's also the price on Nordstrom. I couldn't find it anywhere for cheaper than that. So it is on the higher end of the food chain. Like, this is an expensive item of clothing. There is no doubts about that. It's very hard for a lot of people to stomach. Believe me, I get it. All I can really say about that is, well, first of all, it is made in the US. It is made in the US with imported materials, I should mention that. That's a change that's happened in the last few decades. It used to be totally made in the US. But nonetheless, there are some pretty cool videos out there. You can see the people in New Jersey making the stitching themselves, cutting the leather themselves. A lot of it really is a handmade jacket. It's really old world. It's an old time way of putting things together, which is why I really, really like it. So your money's gonna stay in the US. It's a really old, established, independent kind of company. And in addition to that, it is going to age really well. A leather jacket, anyone will tell you this, it is an investment. It's going to get better with age. It's going to mold to the shape of your body over time. And it will probably be with you for the rest of your life. And I cannot say that about a lot of other leather jackets. As a younger man, I went through a bunch of other leather jackets. I used to live in China. I'd get them made for me at the markets there. Or I would like go to like department stores in Australia and try and find the cheaper ones so I wouldn't blow up my wallet. None of those jackets are with me today. The fact of the matter is, a leather jacket is just one of those things you have to splurge on, because if you do it right, and if you get a Schott jacket, it will be with you for decades and decades to come. So that's all I can really say about the price. It doesn't make it any cheaper, but it does make it more justifiable for a lot of people. But as to whether or not it's justifiable for you, that's your own decision to make. Okay, so why should you consider getting a Schott Cafe Racer jacket? I'm gonna start with one a lot of people draw attention to, and that is this bi-swing back with the underarm gussets, which do allow for more enhanced arm mobility. The zippers are also really good. They're really sturdy. They're really solid. They're not going anywhere anytime soon. I've been going through a lot of backpack buying lately, and I can really tell which zippers are just not going to last the distance and which zippers will. They're really, really heavy, legit. And I mean, they say that Schott is the first company to ever put zippers on a jacket, so you know they put the work in. And they're nickel as well, so they should age nicely. They're not too shiny either. The pockets are these hand warmer pockets on the side, and also the inner pocket here, they really do have a good amount of space to them, so you are definitely going to be able to actually carry things with you. I can't say quite so much the same about the breast pocket here, but it is a good shape for a passport when you're traveling with that, or with some extra change. Otherwise, not a lot's gonna fit in there. But nonetheless, really good quality zippers, really good quality pockets. I like the flannel lining. Some people say it's ugly, but it is really nice and smooth against the skin. And of course, there's the main event. It's the leather itself. It is thick, it is tasty smelling, it is hard, it is supple, and it really has this cool pebble grain texture to it that I really absolutely adore. It is badass leather. It will age really, really well. Put a ton of work into developing this leather. It's tough and it's not too soft. There are a lot of leathers out there that are too soft. I had, again, a sheepskin leather jacket. It was soft, but it just did not go the distance. This is a really, really nice balance of tough but supple. It's heavy and substantial as well, but it's not a burdensomely heavy jacket. I've tried a Chrome XL jacket before. The thing weighed an absolute ton. The leather was very, very nice to look at. It was just too heavy. It was like a suit of armor. This has a really good balance between heavy enough and substantial enough to know you're wearing something tough, but it's not so heavy that you're gonna feel dragged down in it. Then finally, there is the fit. It's kind of hard to get a modern fit. That's usually a word people use to refer to slim fits. This is a modern fit, and it is controversial. I'm going to talk about it in the next section. But for me personally, I like to have a jacket that doesn't billow out too much, and that's the point of this. They made this jacket with this fit so that it wouldn't billow out too much when people were riding around on their motorbikes. Again, I'm not cool enough to ride a motorbike, but as a dude who likes to walk around in the city wearing a nice leather jacket, I like the slimmer cut of this. It looks good on my physique anyway, so I'm a fan of that as well. Now there are some downsides to this jacket. I'll start with the smaller ones. The zippers on the pocket, some people don't love that because you get a little bit of abrasion on your hands when you're putting them in there. It's not a big deal, but some people it's actually a deal breaker. The cotton flannel lining, it's not cool. That's okay, it's not a big deal, but some people have reported that after a few years of wear, the cotton here actually starts to pill a little bit. Like the cotton is not quite as nice quality as perhaps the leather itself is. I don't know, I mean, I've had this jacket for a year, it looks fine to me, but nonetheless, yeah, some people say it does start to pill after a little while. I also wanted to mention the fit. The fit is a very controversial part of this jacket. It is slim. As I mentioned, a lot of people, when they see someone wearing this jacket zipped up, they'll say you got the wrong size. The fact of the matter is, it is a slim fit. And for some people, it's just too slim and they don't like it. Now, you can always just get like a size up. It's not a massive deal, but nonetheless, your correct size is gonna come out modern. It's gonna come out kind of slim. Some people don't like that. And also, when I have like a hoodie underneath this jacket, which looks really good with this jacket, by the way, I can't really zip it up. It is like a very, very slim fit. It's also not entirely, I mean, it is made in the USA, but it is made in the USA with some imported materials. I'm not sure which materials they are. It's probably like the nickel on the zippers or something like that. But technically, it's not 100% made in the US. That's really important for some people. But I do really want to emphasize that it is very made in the US. Like, this is still a very American company.
This timeless classic starts with sourcing the finest cowhides from America.
Also, I mean, you know this when you get it, but it's not ideal for really, really cold weather. Like, it's not insulated or anything like that. It's good for autumn. It is not good for the really, really tough winters that we've been having here in New York City. Now, when you put a hoodie underneath this, I can actually wear this in, like, you know, the coldest weather that we get. So that's fine, and it does fit a hoodie, as I mentioned. But yeah, it's not insulated. It's not really, really bulky. And that bulkiness is like another thing that, like, some people take issue with. Given Schott's sort of history as like clothing for motorcycle riders, if you are buying this for riding a motorcycle, you should be aware of the fact that this does not have the sort of like really, really tough sort of construction that a lot of people do want from like legit motorcycle jackets. By that I mean many consider it not armored enough to withstand like falls on a motorbike. So they'll find themselves like stitching inserts in there. Like there are some from a company called Force Field and some others that have like Kevlar in them. People will like stitch those into their Schott jackets so that it is more of the sort of armored jacket you need to buy a motorbike. But then of course you're buying multiple things to have one jacket. Some people don't like that. So I do need to emphasize there that a lot of people would prefer this be called a motorcycle style jacket than a motorcycle jacket, given the fact that it is, I mean, it's thick, nice leather, but it's not the sort of level of security a lot of people will expect from something for actually riding motorbikes on highways. This might be more for, you know, riding a motorbike between cafes and pubs and that sort of thing in the 60s. Finally, it is a phenomenally expensive item of clothing. It is over $800. I've already said everything I have to say on that one. Whether or not it is worth the price is up to you. I'm very happy I made the purchase though myself. All right, those are my thoughts on the timeless, clean, simple, and cool leather jacket from Schott, the Cafe Racer with the pebbled cowhide. If you want to check out my full written review with a whole bunch of photos and stuff, it's in the description below. I've also got a link to purchase this jacket if you like it. And make sure you subscribe as well, because I've got a whole lot more menswear reviews coming up.